Hello guys, today I'm gonna teach you about chaining queries in Mongoose. First of all, we need to do the base. We require the libraries that we need. In my case, it's Mongoose and the dot end. Then we connect to the database, right? So after that, we just create a scheme of our collection. Then we create a model based off that scheme, and after it starts the cake. I am going to do this. What does this does? If we do the find method of a model and it doesn't have any arguments, it will just return everything in the collection, right? So what I'm going to do with this, I'm gonna filter the data. What does the exec method do? The exec method is from a query. I'm gonna explain that in a moment. So exec from a query, it executes the query. So I'm gonna explain this in a little bit deeply, but if you call, for example, a method with only the conditions and no callback, it will return a query and it will not return no a result, right? Let's say that we only call with the conditions, but if we do, for example, pet find conditions and callback, it will return the records that we found with that method or that we delete, whatever. So that's an important thing. If we don't pass a callback, to the method, it will not execute, let's say, the query, and it will not return the records. It will return an object or something that it's a query, right? So what happens with a query? The query have a method called exec. When we call this method, it will it will execute the query and finally return the result, right? So what we can do with this, we can stack filters or queries, or we can stack whatever we want in this case, right? So I'm gonna do the first example. This is the first example without anything stacking. I'm gonna only use the find method and then the exec method that this will execute the query, right? It will log found and the number of records, and then it will log the data with a separator to be able to identify it, right? And the second example, if doing the find method with the sort, this is like sort filter. I don't know how you will call that, but I am doing the sort filter. If you want more information, you can check that in the API. And then after doing the sort filter, I execute the query, and this will give me the result. And another thing, as you can see, when we execute the query, we need to pass the callback inside, as we do it always with the error and data argument, right? So the second example is with one, let's say, filter, and the third example is with another filter that's called limit, that will limit the results that we get, right? So as you can see, I can stack filters. So that's pretty useful when you want to do complex queries to the database, right? And then execute it. So after explaining that, let's see how it works. I'm gonna execute it again. Let's wait a little bit, and here it is. And as you can see in the first example, we have the 3 records because the find method returns a query, and then we execute that query, right? And that returns all the records that we have in the collection. Then in the second example, I sort the results by the parameter legs. So I want in descendant order. That's because I put the minus sign. So for that, as you can see in the first query, we have in the legs 4, then the legs 2, then legs 4. In the second query, we have legs 4, and then legs 2. So it's in descendant order. After doing this, we have we have the third example. In the third example, we limit the results to get only 2 results. So with this, we get only 2 results, the first 2 results. So you might think, oh, why we don't get these first 2 results? The 4 and the 2 in legs, right? We don't get that because we stack it with this filter. What does it mean? It means that we first sort the results, and after we apply the limit to that result, right? So that's how chaining queries works in Mongoose, and I hope it's useful. Bye bye.